if you were to ever to truly get to know me, I think one core thing you would learn about my personality is that I'm someone who very much appreciates my lows. And it's because, for a few reasons. First of all, I sometimes find myself in a very low place frequently, more frequent than I think some other people, or more than at least I would like at times. And then my second reason is like, what else are you gonna do? Like, listen, everyone's gotta feel sad at some point, everyone's gotta feel upset, and we're all gonna feel these emotions that we don't necessarily want to feel at a point. What are you gonna do? Fight it? No point. And one attitude and just take I have on that of appreciating the lows is it comes in a few different angles. My first angle that I always present to people is with my depression. I talk about how I appreciate my depression and I see it as something that has grounded me and something that tells me to slow down and to listen to my body. And I've tried to always see a positive purpose in it because I have dealt with it for so long. And honestly, I can confidently say at this point, I don't feel as depressed anymore. And even when I do, I know how to handle it. I know how to deal with my very low modes and I know how to navigate that, and they aren't self-destructive anymore. So that's one angle. But another angle that I've been learning to take most recently, especially in the last couple years, but even these last few months, was within my career. And I think it's kind of funny, honestly. There are a lot of people who know me from my former college, and they know me because they have seen me in interviews, they see me in YouTube videos, they see me just doing these very almost high profile and high camera work on the mic. They see me in so many presentations, and I'm very grateful. And it makes me so happy that all that work that I have done can inspire and impact people of all ages, from 14, even younger, to people who are much older than me. It brings me so much joy and so much happiness that I can do that. And I can say with surety that that's not my life anymore. I don't get flown out to the East Coast. I don't go on interviews. I'm not in front of the camera very often, unless it's my own camera, but I'm not filming videos. I'm not working under this company anymore. I obviously am not in those YouTube videos anymore because it's way past my time there. But when people meet me or they talk to me, they're kind of surprised. And it's funny because I was recently talking to one of my coworkers, and he told me that his daughters had found the footage of me meeting Shaquille O'Neal, and he was like, wait, I think I know her. And then he asked me the next day, is that you? And I was like, that is me. And he's like, whoa, like, when I first saw you, I was like, wait, like, what is she doing here? Like, what is she doing working at this place? And I find it kind of funny whenever I hear those things, because immediately after I did shoot that video, I was working overnight in a grocery store. I was probably having the most unglamorous life there could be for 7 months. And yes, after that it got better. There's a lot of publicity. There were a lot of things that I was doing. But, there is like a point where I still had a normal life. I still did very day-to-day things. I went to class. I had a job. I still do today. And that takes up just more of my time, more of my life. And I would say I'm kind of back at that baseline. So I kind of stopped showing up on camera, doing these interviews and such, between December and February. And I think people kind of see whenever someone stops doing such big publicity work, even celebrities or other YouTubers and just other public figures, we see it as like, oh, they fell off. Oh, like, they're just not in the spotlight anymore, or something's happening. Just, we come to all these conclusions that, oh, they're just off the face of this earth and they're not going to come back into the public eye, or even if they do, it won't be as strong. And I think what a lot of people don't really realize is that, you know, there are ebbs and flows in life, but also within our career. And there are days where not days, but there are periods where you're going to be on the camera, you're going to be that manager, you're going to be the leader, you're going to be the trailblazer, the one in charge and doing all these big things. And sometimes you actually do stay that way, but eventually you either reach a point where it becomes normalized to you and, you know, showing up on the camera is just like, yeah, this is my everyday thing. Or you reach a point where you kind of go back to a normalcy where it's like doing the office job, showing up to your 9 to 5, going back to school. And it's not a bad thing, is what I'm trying to say. It is normal. Like, we're not always meant to be on a high. And like I said, even if you technically are on one that's like very public, very fame oriented, or making a lot of money, whatever it is that means to you, there is a certain point where there's a baseline. $1 million becomes $1 million. Like, you don't care. That's just how it goes. And I think that's something that people have yet to understand, because when you don't understand it, you are going to be on a hamster wheel and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough. I'm not good. I'm not good enough. Like, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. And that is scary. That is what leads us to very dark moments, very dark places. And that is something that I can confidently say with myself and also some of my peers and my good friends, especially coming off of our YouTube videos, that's something we experience. Actually, the first thing I got asked after doing all of that was, okay, how are you going to keep this going? I'm not. You shouldn't feel like you have to. No. You don't have to keep it going. That's unsustainable. You're not a machine. So I think if the world were just a bit more sympathetic to people taking breaks, taking normal jobs, going to school, just taking on an easier, more manageable, if anything, because even I know people working multiple jobs to pay for school and just to live a normal life, they are working 10 times harder than even I am. But there's so much to appreciate in our lows, because it's honestly very grounding. It's very stable. It's very peaceful. And I don't think that's something that people get. And it doesn't need to be like a whole world thing. It honestly just needs to start with you. It needs to start just on an individual level. And this is in like no way trying to stomp down anyone's ambition, anyone's fire, because I'm someone who very much carries that and always wants to go on to the next thing, the next big thing. But there is a beauty and there is life, there's vitality in being able to wait and being able to be patient with yourself. Because if you go too fast, you just burn out. And yeah, you can work through burnout. That's totally possible. I like to say nothing is impossible, but is it worth my happiness? No. So I say with much grace and much love for people and all the things that you want to do in this world, just be patient with yourself and appreciate these lows. Because honestly, the lows is just peace.